Hey everybody, welcome to episode 53 of the Discussion 5. Yeah, these numbers are slowing down just a little bit. Thought we were going to catch the Brothers of Discussion episode total, but not going to happen. We used to be coming to you every Monday and Thursday morning, just Monday mornings now on podcast. And now you can see our faces. So guess what? Even though I've been posting on IGTV, we'll also go up on our YouTube channel, so you guys can keep track of the wrestling. You can keep track of hockey. You can keep track of the discussions now that are going to be mostly about sports movies. Just keep rolling them down. That's the Discussion 5. I am at ClinkMet. That's my brother, Michael_Klink. You can find the entire show on Twitter at BOD Hockey. You can find our joint Instagram account. So I guess if you're watching the video, you're watching this on IGTV. That joint Instagram account is brothers_of_discussion. Find the website for the Brothers of Discussion as bodpodcast.com, brothersofdiscussion.com. Whew. We just passed WrestleMania weekend, but if you want to catch our continued coverage, go to those websites. Also, Facebook has our Brothers of Discussion page, and we have a live wrestling discussion group that you can continue the conversation on post-WrestleMania reactions there. All right. We're also here thanks to the Hockey Podcast Network. As you heard on the top of the show, it is every team, everywhere. They've got new podcasts coming out all the time, including Tales with TR, which is a hockey podcast hosted by Montreal Canadiens former first-round pick Terry Ryan. The Ice Analytics podcast, that comes to you every Friday. And the brand new House of Hockey podcast coming to you every Tuesday, hosted by Breezy and Ray Ray. Fun show that's also put up on IGTV. That's where I got the idea that we should probably be doing that. And everything can be found, and you can get all the updates on at HockeyPodNet. All right, Mike, if the season never paused, guess what? We'd be done.
We made it! Woo!
The only team in the league so happy that had happened. We'd also be really close to the draft lottery, so this is kind of a bummer that we are still going to be up in the air. But, Mike, I decided this morning just to run over my PlayStation, and I started trying to figure out, what do you talk about on a Detroit Red Wings podcast that hasn't really had anything to talk about? And
there's no season anymore.
Yeah. So I ran down to my PlayStation, and I hit go on a simulation of us against the Tampa Bay Lightning. And, when you do that, Mike, you assume that it was just going to be funny for me to go, hey, we got blown out. And it was disgusting. And the game actually didn't know how to calculate 200 goals. So it actually crashed midway through. But no, we won. We won 5-1. Jonathan Bernier puts up a 40-save, 1-goal performance. I'd love that. That's how we're going to end the season. Dylan Larkin gets a couple goals. And Filppula with 1 goal and 2 assists. So the game, how it always, kind of is like, well, that guy can't be less than an 80. He was good 10 years ago. And that's the funny thing about NHL 20.
What I want to make sure of, man, when you say you simulated it, I know if you played.
I did not play.
That was what I wanted to confirm. So did you set it to amazing difficulty and then just let the teams duke it out?
I set it to whatever the default was, which would probably be Superstar. And then it's the simulation. So the NHL game, I don't know if you've played it in a while, but you have to set up how the game is it. When I say simulated, I don't mean how I just hit sim game. I mean the performance of the players has like different levels where you can set it to like arcade or you can set it to realistic. So I set that to realistic. The default should probably be Superstar. And then, I started the game because if you just do like an exhibition, you can't just sit there and sim an exhibition. And I didn't want to start a whole new season to do it. So I just started the game, I quit, and then it gave me the results.
Follow-up question.
Yes.
So it does sound like there's more integrity involved because you weren't playing as the Red Wings, which is good.
Correct.
My second question is, did you watch the full 60-minute game?
Absolutely not.
Not man, I really was going to be proud of your commitment.
No.
Watching the
This
full
was
60.
on my way to my home office. I paused at the PlayStation and thought, "Oh, this might be fun." Got her going. Simulated the game.
Because I think that would have been something kind of fun, is if we got together on Zoom and watched the fake Red Wings on PlayStation finish out the regular season.
What we should do is just set up all these different tournaments that we've been talking about and see if we can win our way with our with the shitty Red Wings. Because I've been playing.
Wait, so I could be the citizens of Seattle. I can put my team together. Yeah, that's what I want. I also get a 30-goal advantage, if I remember correctly.
Right. So does that mean you're gonna play as Seattle?
Right. All my guys' overalls will be just the bottom toilet player,
Zero.
As terrible as they can be. Yeah. And you got to try and beat me for the draft pick.
Yeah, we should totally do that and put it on Twitch. That would be so awesome. Well,
I can get like a registry of real Seattle citizens and get their names on there. Like find the registered voters of Seattle and put their names on there.
I want you to create players with like the names that are in there. So then when you do passes, the announcers will actually say something. But if I do this, is another biggie cake, and I start making the Seattle citizens, and then you're always just like, I don't know, I gotta buy the game and everything. I'm gonna kick you square in the nuts.
I don't know what our logo. I don't know what the Seattle Citizens logo is. It's kind of like when you line up everybody for like a draft in gym class, and I guess I'll take him, and it's just like me. So it's just like a guy pointing at himself and looking behind to see if there's another better player behind him. Oh, I can't wait to lead the Seattle Citizens to victory. But Matt, we had some real scary NHL news today.
Well, I just want to thank the fake Red Wings for giving the fans
the season on a win.
Yeah, closing out the season on a high note. But yeah, go ahead.
Our beloved president.
Oh, you don't want to read how I put it?
Lumpy Trumpy. No, you didn't want that joke to go unread. Lumpy Trumpy says sports can restart in September, but we're trying for August. So it sounds like we're not going to have – I think the quote was something like we're not going to be able to get fans in stadiums until September.
Right.
But I guess there was a huge conference call where they had Trump was just lucky to be in the room with these really smart people. Obviously, Trump and Bettman excluded from that smart people group. I'm talking mostly about people like Adam Silver, that douche who gets paid by the Patriots, Goodell, and then some leaders of the other major sports. But Vince McMahon was also a part of that phone call, which I absolutely love that he wormed his way in there. So you guys are all canceled. Now we're having 2-day WrestleMania. The chrome balls on that guy,
I tweeted out yesterday that I hoped that all of his statements when he was giving his input all started with, well, as a owner of a professional football league, I would like to say, or in my experience...
I'm running 2 sports over here. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys aren't running 2 different sports, and I've got WrestleMania coming, and I'm going to jump on this phone call today. Yeah, actually, you know what? Good on him. He had WrestleMania going, day one of WrestleMania going yesterday, and he still jumped on that call. So kudos to the the chairman himself, Vince McMahon.
Yeah, I just we had some news there. It sounds like we're not going to get in-person games for a while, but it still sounds kind of up in the air. They don't really have any clear dates as far as, are they going to play maybe some empty arena games? Because and then additionally, like the extracurricular stuff too, like the NFL has their draft coming up first, and they have said, no, we're not canceling the draft. We're just going to have people do it from home. which is really weird because
It's going to look like this.
Part of the lead up to the draft, and I don't just mean draft night, because I think that's always silly to watch those guys kind of walk out and, hold up a jersey and a hat, shake the commissioner's hand, whatever. But like this time right now, players are usually still being evaluated, and that's just not happening right now. There's not even just like running them through, the gauntlet of, are you fast? How high can you jump? What are your, physical abilities? Like, they usually do psychological tests too, to kind of feel like, is this guy a good leader for our team? Is he going to help out in the community? Is he going to be a positive influence in the locker room? None of that stuff's happening. So it's just like the NFL, we already have all those dudes here, but what's going to be really weird is when the NHL wants to do that. And, a lot of those guys, they're not even in the country. You know what I mean? So it's going to be even, another degree of separation for you to be able to get that information, talk with these potential investments for years to come, and then feel like you're prepared come draft night. So the NFL said, we're going to do it. Cool. NHL, we don't know. And it's tough because we wasted, this whole season as Red Wing fans, rubbing our hands together for that Lafreniere, the odds, to maybe get them. We don't even know if they're going to have a lottery. We don't know how they're going to do the draft. There's been no announcement for that. Because when was the lottery supposed to be? Wasn't it one of these weeks?
Yeah, it was coming up right after the season. I think they normally do it like either the day before or when the playoffs start, kind of thing. No, I think it's the day before, so that they still have news to talk about.
I think what we do is we have the lottery, and if the Red Wings don't get the number one pick, we just cancel the draft and we do it again next year, and we get another chance to do it.
Yeah, I feel like this is the only city that that's like, wait, I mean, we're still doing a draft, right? Right?
Yeah, whatever. The Stanley Cup playoffs.
Everybody's talking about the playoffs. These kids, like, this is Yzerman. These kids can't go a whole year of playing in the juniors again. They need to be drafted now. This is ridiculous. We can't.
Listen, I'm worried about these kids. I'm worried about these kids. All right, we don't have time for a lottery. I just say we go in order. Who had the worst pick? Who had the worst record? You get the first pick. Second worst record, so on and so on and so forth. I don't have it in front of me. I don't know.
I don't even want to look at the standings right now. I'm just, it feels like that's the right way to go. And
I don't use the word coinky-dink very often, but it looks like by coinky-dink, we get the first pick. I don't make the rules. I'm just saying, we don't have time for a draft.
Let me propose the rules. I don't make the rules. I'm just proposing them.
Steve, can you get off the call? All right, we're going to mute Steve for a few. Okay.
Steve, remember when you didn't get in trouble for pretty much moving to the Red Wings before you were completely done? Yeah, remember? Okay. Could you leave the call, please?
We're gonna invite everybody back. Just you leave first, and then everybody else will leave, and then we'll get everybody back together. All right, he's gone. All right.
You just here. Can you? I know you can mute people. Can you just?
Can we mute
have
everyone?
Someone not hear?
Yeah.
What I'm about to say.
Steve, can you mute us? We're gonna run a test. Can you mute us? Okay. So how do we tell him he got the fourth pick? Brainstorm sesh. How do we tell him he got the fourth pick? Maybe
Shit, he's calling back in.
So it's not going to be good. Okay, so we're going to tell him I really do not want to watch a live suicide. So I think what we're going to do, everybody turn off the video feed. Turn off the video feed. We'll break the news and we'll break the meeting. All right, we're good.
All right.
Steve, you're back with us. Hey.
What were we talking about?
Yeah, we were going to, hey, it's me, Steve. Hey. Yeah, remember we were going to get rid of that whole lottery bullshit and, just go in order.
Well, Mike, if you've got some bullshit you want to get rid of between your legs and around your nuts, it's time to talk about our sponsor for the show, which is Manscaped. Woo!
Oh my God. Okay. So obviously it's an advertisement, so we have to talk it up. But when this device came to my house, this was one of the greatest gifts I've ever gotten in my life. And I don't just mean the physical device. I mean that there was more thought and care put into this care package than like soldiers in Normandy in France in 1945, like getting a ready-to-eat meal and ammunition. Like this box prepared me for the rest of my life. Not only did I get a super accurate shave on my balls, I also got these 2 little bottles to make sure my balls are always in pristine shape, and underwear that feels really good, and a t-shirt that I would wear for this episode, but I already wore it and stunk it up with perspiration because I couldn't shut up about how great these stupid Manscaped mid-rolls were, man.
You can't just stick to the lawnmower with Manscaped. Like you go to that website, you got to check everything out top to bottom. Because I mean, right now I've got deodorized balls, Mike. There's deodorant on them.
I thought this was gonna be ridiculous, and this is like, I can't believe I went this long without using this thing.
Well, like, think about the deodorant on the nuts, and where do you put deodorant usually? On your armpits. Why haven't we been putting deodorant in this other tight space that's all closed up? And if you don't have your Manscaped underwear, then it's not breathing down there. You just got your nuts and you're twigging berries. You take a piss. Are you washing your wee after? No, you're not. Deodorant belongs down there.
It does.
Mike, Manscaped has redesigned the electric.
You know how many pairs of pants I've ruined because I didn't have deodorant down there? Just ball funk. Another pair of pants down the trash.
The main product, though, Mike, is the Lawnmower 3.0. That's the thing I was talking up last week. I'm glad that you got a chance to trim up your nuts. Last week, I was actually playing with it down here.
Let's just say everybody in the household appreciated it.
Mike, I don't have it here now. Why? Because it's charging in my bathroom, so I'm ready to go. But Manscaped has an engineering team that spent 18 months perfecting the greatest ball hair trimmer ever. And I think now we're both in agreement that this thing was just so much. It's not just a good tool, Mike. It was fun because it was so easy. Third generation trimmer features cutting edge ceramic blade to prevent manscaping accidents. Millions of balls are about to be nick-free thanks to Manscaped's advanced skin-safe technology. Manscaping accidents are finally a thing of the past. When I tell you this is premium, Mike, and you were describing the premium service that was delivered to your front door, this is the definition of premium. The battery's going to last you up to 90 minutes, so you can just sit there and
I have.
Keep running. Just keep going over and over till you're down.
Gotta be thorough, babe.
One of the coolest features is that LED light. So when you're trying to flip over your pieces from one side to the other, nothing's going to shadow it. Nothing's going to keep it too dark. I've upgraded to the 7,000 RPM motor with a quiet stroke technology. And let's not forget, like I said, mine's charging right now. So you've got that charging stand ready to go, powered by your USB. If you're listening to me speak right now, you're one of the first people to hear about this life-changing, nut-cutting experience and product. But if you want to get started like we did, but you want a little bit of a discount, get that 20% off and free shipping by using the promo code THPN at manscaped.com. That's right. Promo code THPN is going to get you 20% off and free shipping. So, yeah, while you're sitting at home, everybody's been sending products.
No excuse.
I take a walk around my neighborhood all the time, and I just see Amazon products just stacked up in front of everybody's doors when we're not supposed to be getting stuff.
You have no excuse. You're sitting at home in quarantine. Your balls should be pristine. Outstanding balls. This should be a country of perfect balls.
So the second you're done listening to us talk about movies and pro hockey, go on over to manscaped.com. Get that 20% off and free shipping with the code THPN. That's 20% off, free shipping, manscaped.com. Promo code THPN. All right. Mike, now that we're doing video, maybe next week we'll show
our balls.
Yeah, just how close you can
Shape
really
we
get
got.
it. Yeah. But now we're getting close, Mike, to that point where it's time for the NHL to We're canceling the season. Trump's saying no, nobody's going in an arena till September, right? So also, like he said, even if the NFL starts on time, there might not be anybody to watch those games. So that's August. So is the NHL really going to wait till August to cancel all this stuff, just to kind of reset and remind everybody what we were just talking about before we got a little off track?
Before we got to the sizzle of this episode.
I brought up last week there's pro teams withholding paychecks from part-time employees. Secondary markets don't have to refund purchases until the games are officially canceled. So there's a ton of stuff out there that's telling us that now's the time after this conversation. And you wonder too, in that the Trumpy conversation, was that the moment where with all of these organizations talking, all right, this is it. This is the conversation. This is where we say this is done. Like, is there someone? Should there have been someone in that conversation that was talking to Silver and Bettman and saying, all right, I understand you guys are getting hurt by this quite a bit because your championships are not going to be awarded this year. We're advising you that you need to cancel your season. I mean, other leagues are doing it across the globe, so why is this one so special? I know there's billions of dollars at stake. There's billions of dollars that are affected. There's money to be lost, but does it mean that we're going to play the season in September and forever the NHL and NBA will end their seasons, in October with Major League Baseball? Like, why aren't we just, this season's done? I mean, especially for the NHL. They lock out all the time. They know what it's like to not have a Stanley Cup awarded. Just fucking end it. Is there an argument out there, and you could say no and we can move on to the fun conversation, but is there an argument out there that the NHL should just hold on and say, well, if we can open back up in September, we'll award the Stanley Cup, then we'll get the next season started right away?
It's just weird because when I think about like having lockout seasons or shortened seasons, it's usually the front half is gone, not the championship half. But that would be such a radical reset for everything. Because I think all of us are so used to, you watch, well, nobody watches baseball anymore, but you watch baseball from, end of March all the way through October into November. Basketball and hockey kind of start a couple weeks after each other, October all the way through, June when their championships are. Mm-hmm. NFL's always, September 1st all the way, up till like February, first week of February. I don't know if those guys are ready to reset all the calendars because it's like so many other things look at sports and then adjust accordingly. I think that's, literally every piece of entertainment does that. That's why things are like not scheduled on Sunday nights. That's why like certain shows don't even bother, creating and putting out new episodes on Tuesdays, Thursdays anymore. It's just that would they cancel it, or would they like look at what Vince McMahon is doing and try to do empty arenas?
Well, even still,
I guess you still have those state mandated like distancing in big buildings, so you couldn't have people like. Okay, for example, last night we had WrestleMania. There's supposed to be a tag team championship match on a ladder, so it would have been 6 guys, and so they said, all right, we're not going to really do that. We'll have a representative from each one. So the NHL have like representatives in empty buildings, have like 2-on-2s, with like goalies going across each other.
Just a whole 3-on-3 league. I like that.
Yeah, that's what like we keep trying to find all these ways to remarket the NHL. Would that be a good way to experiment in this just fucked season to like have like mini tournaments like that? So you could just have, Larkin, Mantha, and I don't know, maybe Fabry, like just try to go out there and beat other 3-on-3s.
I mean, that would never happen, but absolutely, I would watch that.
I think that would get a lot of viewership. And then, no, it's not the NHL. No, it's not really the Stanley Cup. But maybe you could find some other way to get the sport going, because it does look like it's going to be a lot. I can't imagine like trying to drag 85% of an NHL season and then just start it, just get it going again in October. You just either do a new one or you do something weird to kind of be a little bit of a placeholder.
Yeah. Do you get the same sort of effort out of players if you're, all right, we've been paused, you're going to have another season that starts, even if they push back the next season like a month, you're going to have another season that starts right after this. I mean, there could be some good out of it, but there's going to be a lot of bad with guys that haven't been training. I mean, think about how many injuries that happen at the beginning of any sports league for guys that are still trying to get like back into a rhythm. So now we're going to do that for the playoffs, where you would make the argument that, the play is turned up a notch. There's guys really laying out to make sure shots are blocked. They're really finishing their checks. And now they're going to do it without having played hockey in a while. And then right after the playoffs, where normally you have an entire summer, some teams longer than other, to recover, you're going to jump right into the next season. It's just logistics. It's tough to imagine. For player safety, it doesn't make a ton of sense. And you know what? Mike, why don't we just take a look at the standings right now? We'll do the draft. Get that out of the way. And then we'll jump into next season. I think that our priorities right now should be make sure kids get drafted, because, it's about the children, Mike. It's about the kids.
Think of the children.
We just got off a call with Steve Yzerman. We're talking top priority here. Draft, then, cancel the season. Then let's jump into the season right after that. Let's just jump into the 2020-2021 season. Yeah, I think that's the right way to go. I don't know. I mean, there isn't too much to say, because I think we both talked last week how it made so much sense to just cancel everything. Or, I just, even watching WrestleMania right now, I still feel a little guilty. I super enjoyed what I watched the first night, and of course, this is coming. Everybody's going to be listening to this episode after night 2 of WrestleMania. So everybody's going to know how that looked. I still had a twinge of guilt, just going like, oh my God, these guys should not be actually touching. Like, think about even like newscasters are recording from home, and the WWE, which is half naked human beings rolling around on a mat together with all the other sweat and spit and whatever from the previous matches. Yeah, it's all there. Yeah. And we're promoting that. We're saying that's okay. We're saying to children, yeah, go ahead, wrestle. That's fine during this lockdown. So, yeah. I mean, while I feel that guilt, do I want to have any part of the rest of the season completed until we know it actually is safe to go back out there, till we have some vaccines? I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to say, because entertainment-wise, I want it. Safety-wise, I think we all know it's just best to cancel this stuff. And for any of you who are at home thinking, what about all those poor owners that aren't making money? They're fine. Nope, none of these rich assholes are affected by this.
I don't know. Huh? I think it was just the owners saying that.
Yeah, like this bullshit of like Amazon telling their employees to like share their sick time. Go fuck yourself. Bezos has plenty of money to throw around out of his own pockets to make this work. Like, this is just these companies worried that their stock is going to drop, which it will, and it should. Like, this is how this stuff works. Like, if you weren't prepared for this, that's your fault. And you really can't even blame investors, because they're just like, I don't know. Let's not talk about this. Anyway, Mike, let's invest some more time into sports movies, and let's talk the top 100 sports movies coming from The Athletic. And Mike, I wanted you to go first because I liked your interpretation right off the bat because you actually looked at this the best way possible.
Because what I was going to do is just read off who they had as their top 10. And then for me, just the omissions that, for me, it's like movies that are either top 5 or definitely top 10 that they did not include up there. They made the list of the 100, but at a level that I didn't quite agree with. So, like, number 10, they had Major League, which is, pretty darn quotable, pretty funny. Nobody watches baseball and doesn't quote the Bob Uecker, just a bit outside. The ball's flying off the mascots, in the peripheral.
I will never not quote the fan that's in the outfield that says, too high.
It's too high. The trajectory of the ball, like it didn't look like it was going over. What do you mean too high? It's out of the park. That guy is hilarious. That movie is Willie Mays Hayes. I can't even not watch somebody stealing a base and not think of Willie Mays Hayes, a fake baseball player who's, in my mind, the fastest base stealer of all time. Remember, he bought 100 pairs of gloves because he's going to steal 100 bases? It's like a perfect, hilarious sports movie. They put When We Were Kings. Never watched that documentary. I'm sure it's important to some people, but Muhammad Ali was kind of before my time, and I didn't invest anything into it. There's the OJ Made in America documentary. I kind of like the Cuba Gooding version on FX. That was really good. Fictionalized nonfiction. So I would kind of watch that first. Breaking Away, a racing movie, which racing movies don't really hit home for me. So some people like it. The Big Lebowski, I love. Does anybody play about fucking rules anymore? Like, that's just one of the great iconic lines of all time. But as much as I love it, I don't think sports movie Big Lebowski. I just think of it as a comedy, So I kind of thought that was kind of an out. Miracle, A+ hockey movie. Kurt Russell's great as the coach. Love that hairdo, by the way. Yep. It does bum me out that Blashill's so bald. I wish that he could, just for maybe next season he pulls out a Herb Brooks wig.
That is such a good performance. I am guilty of thinking of Kurt Russell's face when people mention Herb Brooks,
like the great coaches of all time. Oh, I think of Kurt Russell. Like Bull Durham is up there, number 4, which it still holds up. Can't hit my heat. Come on, bring it, meat. Like you think of that stuff all the time.
Those conversations seem like
the guy want a free steak. Like
those conversations seem like they still happen. Like that totally seems believable. That there's those kids that need to learn. And when we look at minor league baseball, hockey, whatever we're watching, we always kind of pick out the guy that's like, oh, that's the Crash Davis of this team. When there's some
some guy long in the tooth, he's got way too many minor league home runs. Like, man, how'd you get that many? How long were you playing down there? You just, like, as the player, you hope nobody's doing the math when you're cruising for that minor league record,
Right.
It's super quotable. Yeah.
Well, let me throw this out there because you mentioned Major League. So when I think of sports comedies, I think I would put Caddyshack over Major League.
See, that's tough because I think Caddyshack is just a funnier movie. But if I think of a sports movie, like to have that sports, like part of the story involved. Like the Major League, that final game that they have against the Yankees, it's actually like kind of a dramatic game, and I'm kind of like on the edge of my seat, as they got to bring in the closer to, finish it out.
Yeah.
You got to do the prayers to Jabu on your baseball bat, cranking the home runs. Like it's a pretty dramatic baseball game where Caddyshack is a hilarious movie, but I don't feel like there's any real stakes in the golf. You know what I mean?
No, I guess I totally get what you mean.
You just got one of Bill Murray's brothers leaning over the cup, waiting for the ball to fall in.
Well,
that's the only difference for me. Yeah.
That's actually a really good point. I think that kind of goes to that realm of like The Big Lebowski, where it is less about the sport and more about that story that's happening. Where Major League is 1,000% about that team, about the Cleveland Indians, about baseball.
They're going to sell the team, remember? And then, they get that nude cutout of the owner, and they get to take pieces off as they get better and better. So it's like a really inspiring montage scene to see if they can finally get the goods, at the end. Well, let's round out the top 10 here, and then I just wanted to see what your omissions were, Matt. They had Hoop Dreams, which I think are still on Netflix. Just a couple of young basketball kids, and I think it's something that a lot of the NBA 2K, the newer games, have kind of borrowed from, where you kind of see the story of these guys as they make their way up, high school to college to the pros. So it's a good drama. Raging Bull, black and white, Scorsese masterpiece. De Niro at his best there. And then number one was another boxing movie, Rocky. And it's just tough because Rocky is the one where he doesn't win. So, I love the build-up, but it's not, my favorite to watch. So I could be like, yeah, I get that Rocky's, probably the best Oscar movie, but, watching him over and over, probably going to go – I know it's not the best. I know it should not ever win an Oscar, but Rocky 3 is the one with Thunder Lips. It's the one with Clubber Lang. It's the most fun, and then at the end you get Apollo Creed going and getting that last match with Rocky, after the credits, basically. You get to see him go ding ding. Yeah, that's my favorite Rocky experience. I know it's not, the drama, the underdog story. Stallone's he's cut like a Julian salad, man. That's my favorite one. But my omission, Matt, I want to hear yours first. What's your omission from this top 10?
I think we both talked about it last week. That was one of our favorites. So I feel like we're both going to pick it. Is it A League of Their Own? There's
no crying in baseball.
Yeah, I said, it's one of the best. No. It's got so many great lines in it, and
I love the scene where they're having that. The silent sounds to each other, giving the pitch signals. Yeah. And then the batter keeps walking in and out of the box because they don't know if they're going with Dottie or Jimmy.
Yeah.
Stillwell Angel, you're gonna lose. God.
That's another one that does have the heartbreaker ending where, just like Rocky, like you mentioned, but the baseball game.
Yeah, did Dottie let go on purpose, Matt? I think she did.
Yeah, of course.
There's some people who say otherwise. They say it was just a good tackle into the catcher by her younger sister there.
Well, there's another one too that
Marla Hooch. What a hitter!
Well, wait, you should probably go then if there's another one you had in mind.
Oh God! Because I was gonna put A League of Their Own up there because it makes me laugh so hard.
I've got two, but go ahead.
The other one I would put, and it's just a movie that every time it comes on, I gotta watch it all the way through the end. And it gets pretty dark. Is The Wrestler?
Yep, that was one of the ones I wanted to mention.
Mickey Rourke, kind of telling his own story through Hollywood, how he had the ups and downs, but he still wanted to be in the entertainment business. But I think it's that classic thing where, every athlete, I feel kind of goes through this, where you don't want to retire, you want to keep going. We're kind of, if the NFL ever restarts, we're going to get to see it with Tom Brady. Oh my God, this guy's 45 and he's still out there playing quarterback. But it's you don't know anything else. This is your whole life. So you try to follow this passion, even though it's physically hurting you. It's just about that, that human commitment to passion, and whether or not you're actually making the right decision for yourself. It's beautifully done. It's one of those movies where, kind of like A League of Their Own does a little bit, kind of like Major League does a little bit, where when you watch it, you feel like you leave the movie knowing a little bit more about wrestling. kind of like those, baseball. Oh, Bull Durham too is the one I wanted to put in that list, where you leave the movie feeling like you know a little bit of the insider stuff about the sport. So it's dark. It kind of tells you, what goes on in between the matches, because that's all we ever really get to see is the wrestlers in the ring, and to kind of see them, putting the spray tan on and shaving the back, and it's kind of a lonely life. You're always on the road, but it's just something you commit to, because you get that adrenaline high from when you're in front of the crowd, and kind of pulls you through. So,
well,
I would say League of Their Own and The Wrestler.
I mentioned last week, like one of my all-time favorites, and I've watched a million times, is The Natural. So you guys can go back and listen to that episode. But the other one that I think goes in that realm where you feel like you know a little bit more about the sport, and then I actually got more interested and started making sure that I was watching the major events when they were going on, was Seabiscuit. I mean, that won Best Picture, and that was, that's one I could say I've watched probably 10, 15 times, once it had its HBO runs, and this is before like Netflix streaming and everything. So we just had whatever HBO had on at the time. But that was one I watched a ton. Tobey Maguire did a great job. Jeff Bridges does a great job.
Tobey Maguire, the tallest jockey in horse racing history.
Right. And then you go through that, you get to see how sports affects like the kinds of things that people need to hold on to, especially at times, like this. But you're talking the Great Depression, and people needed something to believe in, and they chose a horse. That's one that, especially considering did it win Best Picture?
It was up there, but man, you're right. I keep now, like, it's coming back to me, like, was he going up against War Admiral?
Yeah.
The giant, monstrous, thoroughbred horse. And then, Chris Cooper's like, we got to teach him how to be a horse again.
Yeah. And I say that all the time.
Is it fast? Yeah, in all different directions. Like, I don't even know what that means. Like 4 horse legs just running and, and then I remember those scenes of Seabiscuit, he runs fast when he sees the competition. So he's kind of dogging it a little bit. Then he sees the other horse, and you see like the horse actor, like his eyes start bugging out, like sizing up his opponent. And then he just starts flying down that track. That was a great movie. That's a good call.
Yeah, that should have been much closer. I feel like sometimes we let nostalgia get in the way whenever these lists are made. And that's one that I don't think a lot of people hold dear, but it is like, it's a great story. It's got great acting. It's another one of the underdogs. The underdog wins, and there's like a happy ending.
The lighting, you know what? I remember the lighting of that movie too. Which you come to a hockey podcast, talk about lighting in a horse movie. I just remember they were having Seabiscuit run at night, and the rider was all concerned. I can't really see. Oh, the horse will do all the work. And they had those tracking shots, like the horse's point of view, and you could very subtly see the inside track, so the horse could always keep that to his left. It was so great.
Yeah. So
and again, another movie, like you said, that it felt like you knew a little bit more about horse racing afterwards.
Yeah, and that's important too for like you think about some of these organizations like actually put money into these movies because they want to see people, learning a little bit more. They want to see them get interested. And that did a ton for horse racing for a couple years. So it's a good investment on their part. Yeah. I don't know if there's much. Another thing to mention on this is that in the top 20, there's one hockey movie. And obviously this list is, as we've gone through, is dominated by boxing, basketball, and baseball. Not a ton. Oh, I'm sorry. There's 2. We've got Miracle and Slapshot. So maybe I'm wrong. Because it might be a good mix then with that, because you can't really have many sports.
Well, I'm just gonna throw in one more thing to kind of bring it full circle, is because I love Moneyball so much. Who would have thought it would be interesting to see like the philosophy of executives, like behind the scenes, putting a team together.
Yeah.
And trying to find value and, players that people thought didn't have value. And kind of having a fully fledged team, even without a quote unquote superstar. And another like it's so much better than something like the NFL produced Draft Day, which is just dog crap because it makes no sense. The draft picks that get traded. I don't want to get into it, but somehow the Cleveland Browns, I think, trade like 3 or 4 picks to move up to number 1 to get a quarterback that is suddenly not valued anymore. Then they trade that pick back to the team that traded for them and get additional picks back. And it just makes no sense at all. But what I would want to see, and this is what I'm hoping we get out of this COVID situation, Matt, is lottery fuck. The story of Steve Yzerman and his campaign to destroy the NHL lottery and just go in order. I want it lottery with just an F and some asterisks. And then it's about Yzerman's campaign to save the Red Wings. So it's all about Lafreniere getting picked number 1 by Detroit.
It's I like this idea because it'll show like the start of the season and like Yzerman's getting interviewed about what his projections are. And then like interlaced throughout the entire thing is like, stories coming out of China of COVID-19 and some issues and how it keeps getting closer and closer to the US and the whole time.
Yeah.
Like Yzerman's thinking like, there's some guy early on in the movie that's like, if this comes over here, we might not even have a draft. And no, shut up, you. That's not going to be a problem. Like, we're writing this right now. This is great.
See, Trump, we're going to cancel the season. No fans. It's going to be great. Going to be tremendous. No NHL draft. And you just hear, like, you see this Yzerman montage of him dropping another empty bottle of Jack Daniels into a growing pile of Jack Daniels bottles. And then you see him, like, having the big montage, like, we need these kids to get drafted. Yeah! There's all these kids, like, throwing up, like, graduation caps up. And, Yzerman's catching the one from Lafreniere and puts it on. And then the Red Wings are, yeah, woo, we got Lafreniere.
I want them to tell the story of how, like, Lafreniere, he's not dreaming of, like, winning the cup one day. He's like, I always wanted to be drafted first. So, like, kind of like in Hoosiers, like, that just becomes, like, the goal of Steve Yzerman is to make sure that Lafreniere can still be drafted first this year. And that's his whole mission for the second half of the movie. So we'll play it like Caddyshack, how you have like the first half of the movie is going in one direction, and then you hit that one point where it's always like, all right, this just veers off. It's same happens in Caddyshack and Stripes. Oh my God, I can't think of his name.
Boomer?
No, the guy who wrote and directed. Or I guess he didn't direct.
Reitman? Harold Ramis?
Yeah, Harold Ramis. He was the writer. Reitman was the director of Stripes. Nobody.
I also like the idea of like lottery fuck, where they do have the lottery, but like when you have the draft, you're on the clock, and all that happens is if you go over that, the next team can pick. So it'll just be great too to have Yzerman. Wait, I got this great trade for you. Let's stay on the line. Stay on the line. I'm going to give you Larkin, Mantha, Veleno, my first round pick. Stay on the line. And then you just watch Ottawa. Oh, shit. Okay, there goes the first pick. Well, at least we got the second one. Okay, what do you got, Steve? And then suddenly we're at the third pick. Yzerman's like, all right, you guys, let's all stay on the line. I got a lot of players coming your way. All right, I'm dumping out the season here. Just stay on the line. It's going to be a great deal for everybody. Suddenly, on the clock, Red Wings. Lafreniere! And then Ottawa's like, no! Yzerman, you got us. But wait, are we still getting those players? Hello? Oh, I've been bamboozled.
Yeah. Well, with that, Mike, I think that's the best way to end this.
Yeah. Just a teaser. I think we're going to do a redraft, Matt. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that. I actually had the idea, too, that we should actually watch these sports movies and then analyze the games. Like, go over who is player of the game. Or, like, if we watch Miracle, we'll do well, I guess we don't need to do Miracle. Let's watch, like, Goon and Slapshot. We'll award some first stars and stuff like that. That sounds like fun, too.
Yeah. Well, I think it'd be cool because the Red Wings, used to be really good at finding these diamonds in the rough. So we're going to try and redraft the year Pavel Datsyuk was drafted.
I like it. 1998. So
Boom.
we're essentially, folks, 1998, what we're going to do is make sure the Red Wings don't get Pavel Datsyuk, because there's absolutely no way that if everybody knew that he would get drafted. So that's the fun game we're going to play, is make sure Pavel Datsyuk doesn't make it to the Red Wings. So we have, I don't know, I guess then
Unless Yzerman's got a bunch of phones that year and he goes in the time machine, he's running, I'm not going to do this convoluted thing. You know what I'm getting at. Go ahead.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Make sure to check us out on, I guess we're going to be posting this on our YouTube, the Brothers of Discussion, and IGTV, and check out all the regular spots that you can find the Brothers of Discussion on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe, rate, review, help us jump up the rank. Thanks, everybody.